Questions. Let me ask you something very honestly. How many of you have ever woken up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., stared at the ceiling, checked your phone, sighed deeply, and thought questions? Why is this happening to me again? You are not alone. Millions of people across the world wake up at this exact same time. Questions. Now here's the real question. Is it just your body waking up, or is something inside you trying to speak? Because you see, when the world is silent, when notifications stop, questions, when even the moon seems to whisper instead of shout, that's when the deepest conversations begin. And most of the time, we are too busy during the day to listen. Once, questions. A student asked a wise monk, "Why do my problems always come to my mind late at night?" The monk smiled and said, "Because during the day, your mind is distracted by the world. At night, questions, the world is distracted, so your mind finally gets your attention." Think about that. All day we scroll, talk, rush, work, chase. But at 3 a.m., there is no one to impress, no one to reply to. Questions. No mask to wear. It's just you and you. Some of you don't wake up because of stress. Some of you wake up because of unspoken dreams. Some wake up because of unhealed pain. Questions. Some wake up because of a life you're meant to live, but haven't started yet. Let me tell you something powerful. Your soul does not use WhatsApp. Your heart does not send emails. Questions. Your inner voice does not post on Instagram. It whispers, and it chooses silence to speak. At 3 a.m., suddenly we become philosophers. During the day, I don't have time. At 3 a.m., questions. What is the purpose of my life? Am I truly happy? What did I say that in 2014? Suddenly we remember things even Google has forgotten. Questions. But maybe, just maybe, this time is not a problem. Maybe it's an invitation. In many ancient traditions, this time is called the Brahma Muhurta, the time when the mind is calm. Questions. The heart is open and the soul is awake. Look at nature. Even the sun doesn't rise in chaos. It rises in silence. And maybe your life doesn't need more noise. Maybe it needs more stillness. Questions. Because clarity doesn't come from speed. Clarity comes from silence. Imagine your life is like a room filled with music. All day, the volume is loud. You can't hear anything else. Questions. But at 3 a.m. the music stops, and suddenly you hear a soft knock on the door. That knock is not stress. That knock is not overthinking. That knock is your true self asking questions. Are you living the life I was created for? Next time you wake up between 3 and 5 p.m., don't grab your phone first. Place your hand on your heart and ask gently questions. What are you trying to tell me? You might hear slow down, let go, forgive, dream again, start now. The world teaches you how to make a living. Questions. But the silence of the night teaches you how to make a life. So remember this, you are not waking up because something is wrong. You are waking up because something inside you is ready to rise. Questions. And when you finally listen to that voice, you won't just wake up at 3 a.m. You will wake up to your life. Questions. Let's be honest for a moment. Most of us are afraid of silence. The moment things get quiet, we reach for our phone, turn on the TV, play a song. Questions. Or scroll through something, anything, just to fill the space. Noise has become our comfort blanket. We wear it everywhere. In the car, in the kitchen, while walking, even while falling asleep. Questions. But have you ever noticed something strange? The more noise we surround ourselves with, the more disconnected we feel from ourselves. Think about a normal day in your life. Questions. You wake up to an alarm that shouts at you. Notifications start popping up before your feet even touch the floor. Messages, emails, news, social media. Voices from everywhere telling you what to do. Questions. What to think, how to feel. By the time the day ends, your mind feels tired, but your heart still feels restless. It's like you've been listening to everyone else's voice, except your own. Questions. Now imagine a simple moment. You're walking alone at night, maybe after a long day. The road is quiet, shops are closed, the sky is dark. There's no one calling your name, no phone ringing. Questions. Just your footsteps and your breath. In that moment, something inside you softens. Your shoulders relax, your thoughts slow down. Suddenly, you start thinking about things that mattered to you once. Questions. A dream you forgot, a person you miss, a choice you've been avoiding. That's not overthinking. That's listening. Silence doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't compete with the world. Questions. It waits patiently like a wise old friend sitting in the corner of the room, knowing you'll come when you're finally tired of the noise. Look at a small daily life example. Questions. When your phone is on loudspeaker in a crowded place, you can barely hear the person on the other side. But when you step into a quiet corner, suddenly their voice becomes clear. Questions. Your soul works the same way. In the crowd of thoughts, expectations, opinions, and distractions, its voice becomes faint. But in silence, it becomes strong. Questions. Have you ever noticed when you get your best ideas? Not in meetings, not in arguments, not while rushing. They come in the shower, on a quiet walk, late at night when everyone is asleep. Questions. That's because silence creates space. And in that space, truth feels safe enough to show up. Think about a mother sitting next to her sleeping child. She's not talking. The child isn't speaking. Questions. But the connection is deep, warm, and powerful. That's the kind of language silence is. It doesn't need words to be meaningful. It just needs presence. Many of us say, questions. I don't know what I want in life. But the real question is, have you ever sat quietly long enough to listen? Not with music playing, not with a screen glowing in front of you. Questions. Just you and your thoughts without trying to fix, judge, or distract yourself. Silence is uncomfortable at first, because when the noise stops, you meet yourself. You meet your fears, your hopes, questions, your regrets, your dreams. And that can feel heavy. But it's also where healing begins. It's where you realize what truly matters and what you've been carrying that you don't need anymore. Questions. Think about the sky. You don't see stars during the day, not because they aren't there, but because the light is too loud. At night, when the world becomes dark and quiet, the stars finally appear. Questions. Your inner wisdom is like that. It shines when the noise fades. Silence teaches you patience. It teaches you honesty. It teaches you to sit with your feelings instead of running from them. Questions. And in that sitting, something beautiful happens. You stop reacting to life and start understanding it. The next time you find yourself in a quiet moment, waiting in a line, questions, sitting alone in a room, waking up in the middle of the night, don't rush to fill it. Let it be. Breathe. Feel your heartbeat. Notice your thoughts without chasing them. Questions. You might be surprised by what you hear, because deep down, beneath all the noise of the world, beneath all the roles you play and expectations you carry, there is a calm, questions, steady voice that knows exactly who you are and where you need to go. And it doesn't shout, it waits for silence. Questions. There is a special kind of honesty that only appears at night. During the day, we are performers on a busy stage. We smile when we are tired. We say, I'm fine, when we are not. Questions. We move from one responsibility to another, telling ourselves we will think about our feelings later. But when the world goes quiet and you wake up in the middle of the night, questions. There is no audience left. There is no role to play. There is just you lying in the dark face to face with the parts of yourself you've been postponing. Think about how a normal day works. Questions. You wake up and your mind already has a to-do list waiting. Work, studies, family, money, expectations, deadlines. There is no space to sit with your emotions. If something hurts you, questions, you push it aside and say, I'll deal with it later. If you feel a dream stirring inside you, you tell yourself, not now, I don't have time. And slowly, questions, those feelings and dreams don't disappear. They go into storage like boxes kept in a room you don't open often. Night is when that room unlocks itself. Have you ever noticed how, at 3 a.m. questions, you suddenly remember a conversation from years ago? A moment when you wanted to say something but stayed silent. A decision you made that changed the direction of your life. Questions. Or a dream you once had, to travel, to create, to become something more, that you slowly buried under practical choices. These thoughts don't come to trouble you. They come to remind you. Questions. Think of your heart like a glass of water. All day emotions drip into it. Stress, joy, disappointment, hope, fear. You keep adding more without emptying it. At some point, the glass becomes full. Questions. Night is when it starts to overflow. That overflow is what you call restlessness, overthinking, or I don't know why I can't sleep. Let's take a simple daily life example. Questions. Imagine you have a small stone in your shoe. During the day, you're walking fast, so you ignore it. You tell yourself it's fine. You're too busy to stop. Questions. But when you finally sit down at night and remove your shoes, you feel the pain. The stone didn't suddenly appear. It was there the whole time. You just didn't stop long enough to notice it. Questions. Your unprocessed emotions work the same way. Maybe you're carrying sadness from a relationship that didn't end the way you hoped. Maybe you're holding anger towards someone who never apologized. Questions. Maybe you're disappointed in yourself for not taking a chance when you had it. During the day, you distract yourself. At night, your heart says, questions. Can we talk now? And then there are the hidden dreams. The ones you don't tell people about because they sound too big, too risky, or too unrealistic. Questions. The dream of starting something of your own. The dream of moving to a new place. The dream of becoming a better version of yourself. These dreams don't die. They wait. And when everything is quiet, questions. They gently tap on your mind and say, do you still remember me? Think about a child who wants to show you a drawing. If you're busy, they pull at your sleeve. If you still don't look, questions, they tug harder. Your dreams and emotions are like that child. During the day, they whisper. At night, they nudge. If you keep ignoring them, they find louder ways to get your attention. Questions. Have you ever woken up at night with a heavy feel in your chest without knowing exactly why? That's not random. Questions. That's your heart processing something you didn't allow yourself to feel when you were awake. Sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's longing. Questions. Sometimes it's the realization that you've been living a life that looks good on the outside but feels empty on the inside. Night doesn't create these feelings. It reveals them. Questions. Just like a mirror doesn't change your face, it shows it to you. There is a beautiful side to this too. Late night awakenings are not only about pain. They are also about possibility. Questions. Some people wake up with a sudden idea, a sudden clarity, a sudden realization of what they truly want. That's a hidden dream rising to the surface, finally finding the courage to speak. Questions. Think about how many great ideas are born in quiet moments. A writer gets a line in the middle of the night. An artist imagines a new creation. A person decides to change their life after a long questions. Silent conversation with themselves in the dark. That's not coincidence. That's connection. The night gives you a space where you don't have to impress anyone. You don't have to succeed. Questions. You don't have to be strong. You just have to be honest. So the next time you wake up and feel your mind wandering, don't get angry at yourself. Don't immediately grab your phone to escape. Questions. Sit with it for a moment. Ask gently questions. What am I feeling that I haven't allowed myself to feel? Or what do I want that I haven't allowed myself to want? You might discover that your late night awakening is not a problem. Questions. It's a message, a reminder that inside you there is a heart that wants healing and a dream that wants living. and both are waiting for you to listen. Questions. There is something magical that happens when the rush of the day finally comes to a stop. All day long, your mind runs like a fast train. It jumps from one thought to another. Questions. One responsibility to the next, one worry to the next plan. It calculates, compares, judges, and organizes. The mind is very good at being busy, but the heart is very good at being quiet. Questions. And most of the time, the mind is so loud that the heart doesn't get a chance to be heard. Think about a normal morning. You wake up and instantly start thinking, what time is it? Questions. What do I have to do today? What messages do I need to reply to? What problems do I need to solve? Your mind takes charge before you even sit up in bed. The heart, on the other hand, doesn't rush questions. It waits, it feels, it observes. But in the noise of planning and pressure, its voice gets pushed into the background. Now imagine a different moment. You're sitting alone in a quiet place. Questions. Maybe it's late at night or early in the morning when the world hasn't woken up yet. There's no schedule in front of you, no one asking you for anything. Your thoughts start to slow down. Questions. Like a river that was rushing and now begins to flow gently. And in that gentle flow, something else begins to surface. Feelings you didn't notice during the day. Questions. That's your heart stepping forward. The mind is practical. It asks what makes sense. The heart is honest. It asks what feels true. The mind is concerned with success, safety, questions, and survival. The heart is concerned with meaning, connection, and fulfillment. Both are important, but when only the mind is in charge, life can start to feel like a checklist instead of a journey. Questions. Let's look at a simple daily life example. Imagine you're choosing a job. Your mind lists the salary, the benefits, the location, the stability. Questions. It creates a logical argument for why this is the right choice. But somewhere inside there is a quiet feeling that says, questions. This isn't what excites me, or this doesn't feel like me. That quiet feeling is your heart. During the day, surrounded by advice and opinions, you may ignore it. But at night, questions. When everything is still, that feeling comes back and sits beside you on the edge of the bed. Have you ever noticed how, late at night, you suddenly miss someone? Not because your mind told you to. Questions, but because your heart remembered a moment, a laugh, a connection. During the day, you can distract yourself. You can stay busy. But when the mind slows down, questions, the heart brings up what truly matters to you. Think about a time when you were hurt by someone. During the day, your mind might say, it's fine, don't think about it. Be strong. But at night, questions, when the world is quiet, the heart says, that really hurt, and maybe a tear comes. That tear is not weakness. That tear is honesty finally finding space. Questions. The heart doesn't speak in long sentences or logical explanations. It speaks in feelings, images, and sudden realizations. It might show you a memory. Questions. It might create a heavy or warm feeling in your chest. It might bring a sense of peace or discomfort. These are its words. Think of your life like a meeting room. Questions. The mind is the person who talks the most, presents the slides, and controls the agenda. The heart is the one sitting quietly in the corner, waiting for a moment to raise a hand and say, questions. Can I share something? When the room is noisy, that hand goes unnoticed. When the room becomes quiet, everyone finally looks. Many people say they don't know what their heart wants. Questions. But the truth is they rarely give it a quiet moment to speak. They fill every gap with noise. Music videos, conversations, scrolling. Questions. It's like asking someone to whisper their deepest truth while a crowd is shouting around them. There is a beautiful practice you can try in everyday life. Questions. The next time you find yourself in a slow moment, waiting for a bus, sitting alone with a cup of tea, lying in bed before sleep, don't rush to fill it. Let your mind slow down. Questions. Don't force any thought. Just notice what you feel. You might feel gratitude for something small. You might feel sadness about something unresolved. Questions. You might feel excitement about something you want to do. These feelings are not random. They are messages. When the mind slows, the heart doesn't suddenly become dramatic, it becomes clear. Questions. It shows you where you feel alive and where you feel empty. It shows you which relationships nourish you and which ones drain you. Questions. It shows you which paths feel like home and which ones feel like a performance. And here's the beautiful part: the heart is not demanding. It doesn't shout. Questions. Change your life right now. It simply says, this is how I feel. What you do with that information is your choice. The next time you wake up in the middle of the night, questions, or find yourself in a rare moment of silence, remember this: your mind has finally taken a step back and your heart has stepped forward. Listen, because in that quiet conversation, questions, you might not just hear how you feel, you might discover who you truly are. Questions. In a world that moves faster every day, we've started believing that thinking more will solve everything. If a problem comes, we sit and analyze it from every angle. If a decision appears, questions, we list pros and cons until our mind feels tired and our heart feels confused. We call this being responsible. But many times what we are really doing is not thinking. We are overthinking. Questions. And overthinking doesn't bring clarity, it brings noise. Clarity doesn't arrive when the mind is crowded. It arrives when the mind is calm. Think about a glass of muddy water. Questions. If you keep shaking it, the water stays cloudy. You can stare at it all you want, but you won't see through it. But if you place the glass down and let it sit still, slowly, questions, the mud settles at the bottom. The water becomes clear on its own. You didn't have to do anything. You just had to stop shaking it. Your mind works the same way. All day, questions. We keep shaking it with thoughts. What if this goes wrong? What will people say? Did I make the right choice? What should I do next? We scroll, compare, worry, plan, questions, and replay conversations in our head. By the end of the day, our mind feels full, but our understanding feels empty. Now think about a simple daily life moment. Questions. Have you ever lost something? Your keys, your phone, or your glasses, and started running around the house in panic? You search every room, every corner, faster and faster. Questions. The more rushed you become, the less you see. Then someone says, relax, sit for a moment. You stop, you breathe, and suddenly you remember. The keys are on the table. Questions. Right where you left them. They were never lost. Your calm was. Clarity works like that. It doesn't hide. It waits for you to slow down enough to notice it. Questions. We often believe that if we keep thinking about a problem, we will eventually think our way out of it. But some answers don't come from effort. They come from space. Space to feel. Space to observe. Questions. Space to let your thoughts pass like clouds instead of grabbing onto each one. Think about driving in heavy fog. If you try to speed up, you feel more scared, more tense, more lost. Questions. But if you slow down, keep your hands steady on the wheel, and focus on the small space in front of you, the path becomes manageable. You don't need to see the entire road. Questions. You just need clarity for the next few steps. Life is the same. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means creating a quiet inside you where your thoughts don't fight for attention. Questions. It means allowing your mind to rest instead of constantly pushing it to perform. There's a beautiful moment many people experience in nature. You go to a beach, a mountain, or a quiet park. At first, questions, your mind is still busy. You think about work, messages, and plans. But after a while, something changes. You start noticing the sound of the wind, the waves, the birds, your own breathing. Questions. Your thoughts slow down without you forcing them to. And in that moment, you suddenly feel lighter, clearer, more present. That stillness doing its work. Questions. You didn't solve your life's problems in that moment. but you created a space where you can see them more clearly. Think about conversations too. Questions. Have you ever been in an argument where both people are talking, but no one is listening? Voices get louder, emotions rise, and nothing gets resolved. Then someone finally pauses. Questions. The room becomes quiet, and in that quiet, a real conversation begins. Understanding enters where noise once lived. Your relationship with yourself needs the same pause. Questions. Overthinking is like arguing with your own mind all the time. Stillness is like sitting down and listening. A simple practice you can try in daily life is this. Questions. Take 5 minutes where you don't try to fix anything. Sit somewhere comfortable. Don't play music. Don't scroll. Don't plan. Just breathe and notice what comes up. At first, questions. Your thoughts will be loud. That's okay. Let them pass. Don't chase them, don't judge them. Slowly you will feel a small gap between your thoughts. In that gap, clarity begins to form. Questions. You might suddenly realize what truly matters to you in a situation. You might feel which decision feels lighter in your chest and which one feels heavy. Questions. You might understand that something you've been worrying about doesn't actually deserve so much of your energy. Stillness teaches you something powerful. Not every thought deserves your attention. Questions. Some thoughts are just noise passing through your mind, like cars on a busy road. You don't have to run after everyone. Clarity is not a loud voice. It is a gentle knowing. It doesn't rush you. Questions. It doesn't pressure you. It feels calm, steady, and simple. The next time you find yourself trapped in a loop of thinking, replaying the same worries, the same fears, the same questions, or try something different. Don't think harder. Be still. Take a deep breath. Sit with the silence. Let your mind settle. Questions. And you may be surprised to find that the answer you were chasing in noise was waiting for you in quiet all along. Because when you stop shaking the water, the clarity reveals itself. Questions. There is a voice inside you that doesn't compete with the world. It doesn't try to be louder than traffic, notifications, opinions, or expectations. Questions. It doesn't interrupt meetings or push its way into conversations. It simply waits. Patiently, kindly, silently. It waits for the moment when the world finally takes a breath so it can speak. Questions. Most of our days are filled with sound. Even when no one is talking, something is playing. A video in the background, music in our ears, messages lighting up our screens. Questions. We've become so used to constant stimulation that silence feels uncomfortable, almost unfamiliar. But your inner voice doesn't live in that noise. It lives in the spaces between. Questions. Think about a simple daily life moment. You're in a crowded room and someone across the room says your name softly. You won't hear it. But if the room suddenly becomes quiet, questions, even a whisper can reach you. Your inner voice works the same way. It doesn't shout your deepest truths. It whispers them. And it waits for the quiet to carry them to you. Questions. Have you ever gone on a long drive alone, late at night or early in the morning? The road is empty. The sky is open. The radio is off. And suddenly, your mind starts wandering in a different way. Questions. You think about your life, your choices, the person you're becoming. You remember things you thought you had forgotten. You imagine things you've been too afraid to want. That's not random. Questions. That's the quiet inviting your inner voice to step forward. During the day, we listen to so many voices telling us who we should be. Parents, friends, social media, society, even our own fears. Questions. Be practical, be successful. Don't take risks. What will people think? These voices are loud and constant. They fill every corner of your mind. And in all that noise, questions. The soft voice that says, "This is what feels right to me," gets pushed aside. But it doesn't disappear. It waits. Think about a child in a classroom full of shouting students. Questions. The teacher can't hear the child who is raising their hand quietly. But when the class settles down, That small hand becomes visible. That small voice becomes audible. Your inner voice is that child questions. It doesn't demand attention. It waits for calm. There are moments in life when the world naturally becomes quiet. Late at night, early in the morning, sitting alone with a cup of tea. Questions. Walking in nature, lying in bed before sleep. These moments are not empty. They are full. Full of space for you to meet yourself. Have you ever noticed how in these quiet moments, questions, you suddenly feel something deeply? Maybe gratitude for a small thing. Maybe sadness you didn't know you were carrying. Maybe a strong pull towards something you want to do with your life. Questions. These feelings don't come from outside. They rise from within. They are messages. Your inner voice doesn't usually say, change everything right now. It says things like questions. This doesn't feel right anymore, or I miss this part of myself, or I wish I had the courage to try. They come as gentle thoughts, soft emotions, or sudden realizations. Questions. Think about a time when you had to make an important decision. You probably asked many people for advice, you made lists, you searched online, you compared options, and still you felt unsure. Then questions. One day, maybe while lying in bed or taking a quiet walk, something inside you just knew. Not because you had more information, but because you had more silence. Questions. That knowing came from your inner voice finally getting space to speak. We often say, I don't trust myself. But how can you trust a voice you never listened to? Questions. Listening to your inner voice doesn't mean ignoring the world. It means balancing the noise outside with the wisdom inside. It means giving yourself moments where you are not performing. Questions. Not achieving, not proving, just being. A simple practice can change a lot. Once a day, create a small pocket of quiet. It doesn't have to be long. 5 minutes is enough. Questions. Sit somewhere comfortable. Put your phone away. Close your eyes or look out of a window. Don't try to think of anything important. Just let your thoughts flow and fade. At first, questions. Your mind will bring up random things. That's okay. Let them pass. Underneath that surface noise, something deeper will eventually rise. A feeling, a question, a sense of direction. Questions. That's your inner voice stepping forward. The beautiful thing is, this voice always wants what's best for you, not what looks best to others, not what sounds impressive, but what feels honest. Questions, meaningful and true to who you are. The world will always be loud. It will always have opinions, trends, and expectations. But your inner voice will always be quiet. And that's why it waits. Questions. It waits for you to slow down. It waits for you to turn inward. It waits for you to choose silence over distraction, even for a moment. Because in that moment, when the world finally becomes quiet, questions, you don't just hear a voice, you hear yourself.